Where's the sound trip ever taken?
How does it feel to be voted the most hated man in America right now?
In a country full of Neanderthals, I wear the fucking badge of honor.
Oh, well.
So you're trying to tell me that all these deaths are accidental? Must think we're all idiots here or something.
What about the rumors that you're mentally imbalanced?
Who the fuck said that? Bullshit! I'm not mentally imbalanced!
Acting as if there is no heaven or hell. Well, I've got news for you. There is most definitely a hell. What? And you're all going to go there when you die.
Hey guys, so Jokey Pants with the actual throwback Jokey Pants style. Not even on camera. Save you from my ugly mug. So, and speaking of bad movies, this was another movie that I wanted to talk about before, but it doesn't deserve a full review because this goddamn movie. I'm talking about Eden Lake from 2008, made by James Watkins, who the most recent movie he's made was See No Evil. And I kind of liked See No Evil. I can't say the same for Eden Lake. Eden Lake might be one of my most hated fucking movies I've ever sat through because it is disturbing and unsettling on every level, which is fine for the kind of movie that it is. That's what it's going for, is to make you feel uncomfortable. But then you get to the fucking ending of this movie and it makes you go, what the fuck did I just sit through for like an hour and a half? What the was that? That's this movie. See No Evil did better in some of the things it did. The way that it handled themes and endings and whatnot was much better than what he did here. So Eden Lake, we got Kelly Riley as Jenny, who you might know as Beth from Yellowstone, since that was a huge show. And she's co-starring against Michael Fassbender, who you have to know Fassbender as Magneto and so on, like and an android from the newer Alien movies. So like Fassbender, Kelly Riley, good actors, can't go wrong there, right? Well, then you get into fucking Eden Lake. Oh my God. So Jenny and Steve go to this isolated lake. It's very beautiful. They're going to camp. They're going to enjoy their time. And it starts off great. They're having a good time. They're enjoying the lake. They're doing whatever. And then they get interrupted by some rough scallion British kids who are they're bad kids. And they have a mean dog and whatever. And they get uncomfortable, and it's you're made to believe very quickly about, like, these kids they were just bad kids. They don't give a shit about anybody around them. They're just gonna smoke weed and have their dog harass people and, like, just be assholes. And it's, yeah, you know, like, they're just dicks. And you don't think too much of it. But they're the villains of this movie, because then that devolves into the kids doing illegal shit, and then they, like, steal Steve and Jenny's Jeep and like joyride around with it. And then that's not badass enough. They fucking chase them down and they get Michael Fassbender, Steve. They get Steve and they torture the shit out of him. Like, they like break his legs and stab him. They wrap him up in barbed wire. And then just to add more upness to how bad these kids are, they film the entire thing that they're doing to this man, and then they stab him a few times, and the one kid gets cold feet, and then they get distracted off by Jenny, and then Jenny frees Steve, and then they make it through the woods, but then Steve bleeds out because he got stabbed like 4 times, and they apparently they nicked an artery or whatever. Regardless, like, the man was like getting gutted by these kids, so like he was definitely not going to be making it. And Jenny, and then it turns into like Jenny running away, and she's hiding, and it's really intense, and you're trying to figure things out. She ends up murdering. Here's the thing: she hides, and then she murders one of the kids in the group. Unfortunately for her, and like seeing it as the viewer and seeing this group of kids, it's the only kid in the group who genuinely was like, this is bad and we need to just stop. And like, would have helped her escape and get away. And she could have been fine. But unfortunately, she doesn't know that. She just knows that these kids are trying to find her to kill her too. So she murders that kid. She then runs into a kid from the school because she's like an elementary school teacher. She runs into one of her kids from class and tries to get him to help. But then he betrays her for the cool kid group because, I guess, Even though she's like visibly injured and needs help, he still betrays her to these kids, who would then tie him to a bunch of wood, douse him in gasoline, put a tire over him so he can't run away, and then light him on fire. Yeah, they just light this kid on fire. And she runs away, and she manages to get away. She gets out of like this secluded area. She runs into a car, but then it turns out, oh no, it's actually the older brother to like the mean kid of the group, the lead kid, whatever. She realizes that he's related to these kids, and she's like,
I murdered one of them, and they're just gonna tell about that.
They're never gonna know my side of it. And she just steals the guy's car, kills the girl of the group, like just runs her ass over, who had the phone with the video. Jesus Christ. Sorry, I'm trying to gather my thoughts because the ending of this fucking movie makes me so goddamn mad. This is going to be a very short episode because I don't want to cover the whole fucking thing. Bad kid finds phone on dead girl. Jenny, meanwhile, is driving all over the place trying to get away. She ends up at a little cul-de-sac, and she runs into the first house that she can, and they help her. And you're like, oh, she finally got help. She's going to be okay. She's going to be fine. Quick side note, Steve earlier in the movie had accidentally killed their dog because the dog went to attack him, and they were giving him a knife. They were basically just goading him into letting the dog kill him. But then Steve ended up killing the dog, which is why they torture him and whatnot later on, is because he killed their dog. But it was their own fault for giving him a knife and then goading him into fighting said dog. Because again, movie just has to let you know these kids are terrible pieces of shit. But she's at this house and she's getting all cleaned up, and she's laying on the couch and she notices the pictures and she sees the kids and she's like, oh. And then she sees the empty dog bowl and there's another dog there that's kind of acting the same, and she puts together that this is the house of those kids. Because of all places this woman crashes her car in this like neighborhood cul-de-sac, whatever, she ends up at the fucking house of these goddamn kids. Fun fact, they show you this house earlier in the movie because Fassbender's character Steve thinks he can break into the house and find whatever, because the kids stole their wallet, so he's trying to get his shit back. But then he leaves the house as people get home. So, like, the minute she's in there, you know the house she's in. But then it, like, makes her piece it all together. She locks herself in the bathroom, and they get a call. And they find out about the dead daughter and the dead son. And it's, like, all those kids' family members, whatever. How does this movie fucking end? Oh, well, this movie ends with them breaking open the bathroom door and murdering this poor woman. They murdered Jenny, and the asshole bully leader kid of the group, it shows you he has the phone with the video, and instead of showing anyone the video and just owning up to the mistakes that they made, that this woman didn't murder them for no reason, he deletes the video, and that is the end of the movie, is that they delete all the evidence they need that could have cleared her from everything of this. She was self-defending herself because they murdered her fiance and also had been torturing them for days on this lake. And then she gets murdered by vengeful parents, and that is the end of Eden Lake. I hate this movie so much. I wish I had never seen it. I hate it so much. I'm gonna keep repeating that because I really do. But that has been Bad Taste, a little mini throwback short. Hope you're enjoying the second channel where we got clips of all our main shows. You can catch What an Oddcast on Thursdays, catch Bad Taste on Saturdays, over on our main channel, Oddcast Network. But you've been, thank you. Like, comment, subscribe, whatever. I'll catch you on the next one. Goodbye, everybody. And for rules-wise, don't prank your friends as a serial killer, stay out of the water, stay out of the sewer, stop dumping chemicals in the sewer, don't bring things back from the dead, don't bury the dead under the road. For this one, man, like, just, if you see a bunch of bad kids and they're in a group and they have a dog, whatever, just get in your Jeep and leave. Don't go back to the lake. Just f***ing leave. Find a different lake. Stay on. Bye, everyone. This is like one of the worst movies I've ever seen. It is so bad.